coming from my standpoint or my point of view, coming into the relationship, knowing that she was married, knowing that she had lost, and I don't know if you guys have felt this way too, but you don't want to, you never feel like you want to just go in and say, well, take someone's place, right? Where did that come from, right? That stems back to tragic loss and traumatic loss. When I was a child, when I lost my mother, and I thought, yeah, I got this, no big deal, right?
Hi there, and welcome to Resilience Reborn. I'm Angie Easley.
My name is Trey Easley.
We are so excited for you to be listening today. We kind of want to give you a little bit of insight to Trey and Angie and how we met and how we are forming this community, and we're starting a podcast. So today it's just going to be a little bit about both of us. So we'll start there. Trey, do you want to go first? How'd you meet me? What was going on in your life?
Well, a lot of what was going on in my life when I met you. Well, to tell you the truth, I was searching MySpace. I was going back down to Roanoke, and I was looking for a girl to hang out with.
What?
And I found Angie on MySpace, and I was like, oh, I know her.
Yeah, and he's right, MySpace, back in the day, right?
That's right. And so I chatted her up or whatever you do on MySpace, and she ended up hitting me back, and then I think I asked you to go on my boat.
Yeah. Would you just go out on my boat with me? And of course I was like, no.
No, and that didn't work. But anyway, so, we ended up actually having some good conversation in the beginning. She had told me some stories about what she had been going through, how her husband had passed away, and she can tell that story. But it immediately resonated with me because, as when I was 15, I lost my mother in a tragic car accident. And I know we've all lost people. And I know we've all been through traumatic loss and these things in adverse situations, right? So with that, if you've ever experienced that, you know that it takes someone who's been in that situation, in those shoes, to kind of understand the mindset of what's going on with the other person. And I felt like it wasn't anything like, oh my God, I can't, I don't know what to say. It was like, oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So that formed, if you want to talk about tragedy actually is kind of what brought us together in the beginning.
Yeah, I maybe to come like a few months down the road.
Sure.
But, just from my point of view, this guy hitting me up on MySpace, not knowing anything that had happened in my life. What he failed to mention was that we actually went to middle school together because we both are from Southern Virginia, and he moved up to Northern Virginia, and then his mother died. So we hadn't talked. We weren't even really that good of friends in middle school.
No, you were very goofy in middle school, and I was pretty popular.
That's not true, but anyways. So I think he was just searching for things from his past, and he came across me on MySpace. At that time, I was in an odd spot. Like he mentioned, my husband passed away. I was married to Kyle Harmon, and he passed away in February of 2005. So I was only 25, and I was very, very cautious about a lot of things in my life at that point. And so I think I did deny him going out on the boat. And we instant messaged, correct? Or emailed?
Yeah, no, it was instant message for probably a good year at least.
Yeah, before I would even...
Before you picked the phone up.
We didn't talk on the phone.
I remember when I sent it, because I was sitting there and it was late, I think, because we used to chat up until like 2-3 in the morning sometimes. And like I said, never talked on the phone. And it's kind of like, when is the right time? When's the right time to ask that question? Because it really was something that had turned into someone who I had just gone to middle school with, found on MySpace, wanted to hang out with, down in Roanoke. And it turned into be something that I actually really wanted to know this person, get to know them more. And I wanted to meet him in person again. So I remember sending that message out, and it was kind of that silence. And I don't remember if you remember.
I don't.
On your end?
This is the thing. I don't remember a lot of stuff during that period in my life.
Yeah. So I'll just tell you exactly what you did.
Oh, I don't know if we should believe that, but
well, what happened was it turned out that she did agree to come up. I said I would make her dinner. She drove up that night, and we had great conversations. The dinner.
I remember that he claimed that he was this amazing cook, and it just was not that amazing.
Okay, I don't know if I claimed I was an amazing cook. I don't think I said that, but I am an amazing cook.
He is.
But I digress. So she came up. Everything was perfect. It really was. And I continued to want to talk and see her. So I think it was from that point that we saw each other every single weekend after that. Either I would drive down to Richmond, it's a little under 2 hours, I guess the trip was. So it was either I would go down there one weekend, she would come up the next. And we did that for, at least...
Over a year. Over a year.
It was about a year. And this was all back in the 2007, 2008. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it just clicked. We always tell a story. We went to St. Lucia. We called our first date, but it was within about 2.5 weeks of us starting to really be seriously dating. And, my thought to her was, I was already almost 20, I was 28. Mm-hmm. And, I had always told myself I wasn't going to get married till I was 30. But once I found that person, I wasn't going to waste any time. So I told her, I said, communication with us is key. And, we did. We told each other everything. We were very open and honest. And that turned out that 2.5 weeks later, while we were in St. Lucia, we actually won the newlywed game against a couple that had been married for about 40 years. And that's...
Which is really cool.
Yeah. We still haven't played. But the little piece of, wood. But, no, it was a beginning of a long, wonderful journey with many bumps, many ups and downs. A lot of the things that we didn't deal with, in our past, they crept up on us and they came in to haunt us a little bit. But like we had talked about for the name of the podcast, right? Resilience Reborn. And that's kind of what we've done. And we want to share that experience with you. And that's what this podcast is all about. It's sharing stories from individuals who have gone through traumatic loss, who have had major things going on in their life. And
it's not just loss.
Yeah.
It can be loss of any type, or, just anything that you have to face in your life that you feel alone, or you feel trapped, or that you're just never going to overcome. It's just about all of life's adversities. And, I think that Trey and I both have had a lot of those in our lives. Just going back to when we met, it was really hard for me because, I was married before, and it was a really great marriage. And so it was like I had this other person on a pedestal. And I give kudos to Trey because that's hard. And one episode may be, how do you love a widow? Because that was hard. But I will say that he came in 100%, not questioning my love for him, or the fact that I was always going to love this other man that was in my life. And he made me feel comfortable and in a way that it was okay for me to move on. So I think there is a lot to that with Trey and I, and just, it was unusual circumstances how we met.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, he thought it was just, I'm meeting a girl. He didn't know what he was getting into.
Very true. But I wouldn't change it for the world. And coming from my standpoint, or my point of view, coming into the relationship, knowing that she was married, knowing that she had lost, I and I don't know if you guys have felt this way too, but you don't want to, you never feel like you want to just go in and say, well, take someone's place, right? You want to kind of say, okay, this is sacred, this is special, this is something that's going to go along. I am marrying Angie, and I'm airing her memories of Kyle and the things and that go along with that. And I think that is amazing because it adds a dynamic to your relationship. At times that can be difficult, but it's still a beautiful thing, right? It's still something that is totally worth it. And I don't know how to put it in a word, but you just know it's just going to be part of it if you want to go along with this journey. This journey includes this part of someone's life, which, we all meet people with things that we have to, can we adjust to what someone else does as they can adjust to what we do? And I think that's just the, that's the resilience part of it, right? It's the, you take what you had. If and I loved her, unconditionally. And that was part of the package, and it was completely fine with me.
Which makes him an upstanding citizen.
Yeah.
100%.
I never said I was perfect at it. Trust me, there's always been, I'm sure that, I think there was.
We'll dive into some of that stuff too. Even as far, with me having guilt and, things as we've progressed over the years, and coming up in May, it'll be 15 years that we've been married. And there's been a lot in that 15 years. And it's not perfect. It's not always pretty. It is amazing. And this right here is just proof that it is well worth it. Like what we're doing right now.
Absolutely. I think it all started to make sense when, we'll talk about things that have gone on with me. We'll talk about alcoholism, which was a part of my life during this whole situation, and part of my daughter's life, part of my wife's life. A very difficult time. But the amount of support and the amount of love that was surrounded to help me is imperative. And I just want to put that out there to everybody. We'll dive into some of that stuff too. And how, where did that come from, right? That stems back to tragic loss and traumatic loss. When I was a child, when I lost my mother, and I thought, yeah, I got this, no big deal, right? And it comes back. So, these are the things we want to talk about. We're not experts. We might bring some on. We might not. We want to involve the community in their stories as well. So that's kind of the direction we're going.
Yeah. So just, some young adults that happened upon one another at really different times in their life. And then throughout the journey, just all the obstacles that we've faced and we have fought and we have embraced together. That's really the story of Trey and Angie. How we met.
Not to mention our two beautiful daughters.
Oh, yeah. So, and we have two wonderful daughters. Adeline is 13 and Corinne is 10. I'm sure that they'll be on at some point so you can meet them.
And they have their struggles too, right? Especially because of what they saw with me. And
they continuously see it with me too. I mean, just the whole anxiety portion, how I can be just because of the traumatic loss that I experienced. But
I want to make it clear that this is a very, they know everything.
Yeah, 100%.
We don't hide anything. We use our stories with them.
It's a tool.
To show them that, anything can happen, but you can get out of it. You can rise above it. You can make it work for yourself.
You are resilient.
Yes, absolutely.
And we all know that kids are resilient. But I think a lot of this, too, is that we're excited to teach them those things and to use ourselves and stories of our life as examples for them to know it is not all, wonderful and rainbows all the time. So that's kind of a little bit about how we're raising our girls. So I don't know. There's a lot more, but we just kind of wanted to introduce ourselves and give you a little background knowledge. We'll dive in some more into our community and Resilience Reborn and our missions and all of that in other episodes. But I think that is probably...
Yeah, I think that you guys have kind of the idea with what we want to do. And, things change over time, but I know that even if we reach one person, one family, that's going through something like this, because we all do eventually, unfortunately. If we can reach one family out there, it makes it all worth it to us.
Yeah, and you just have to know that together you're a lot stronger. And it has been amazing for me to have Trey to support me, especially when I was raw and just coming out of loss so soon. I don't know. We have something pretty amazing. So we're excited for this. We're excited for the start of our podcast, and there is a whole lot more to come.
And I hope you join us on our journey. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.